The amazing scenes that unfolded right here on Sky News today, with the US President Donald Trump ushering Secretary of State Marco Rubio into a televised meeting with the media that Trump was conducting, questions being shown live across the world, and then being handed a slip of paper. It was extraordinary stuff. Have a look at how this happened mid-morning on the east coast of Australia. Rubio was then beckoned forward, Trump, and whispered something in his ear. It's history in the making. It's quite amazing to sit there in your lounge room and watch that unfold. That vision will go down in history as perhaps the moment the great deal maker Trump pulled off the biggest deal of his life. Could we finally be seeing a lasting peace in the Middle East, or at least, at very least, a ceasefire? In a 2-year bloody conflict that started on October 7 in 2023 by a Hamas terror attack that killed at least 1,200 innocent people. A conflict that's seen thousands of innocent lives lost in Gaza, creating a divide in the West over Benjamin Netanyahu's military response, and saw Australia, through our Prime Minister Albanese, make the hollow gesture of recognising Palestine to presumably make himself and his lefty colleagues feel better about themselves, but achieving absolutely nothing. I mean, the US and Israel both slammed this virtue signalling, and it did absolutely nothing to stop the conflict. Instead, it took Trump and his negotiating team, plus the ruthless use of American military might in attacking Iran, the bankrollers of Hamas, to get a collection of Arab countries around a table, including Hamas, to nut out this 20-point plan. You just wonder now, don't you, what the Trump-hating left globally are going to say if this peace deal actually holds and the bloodshed stops. One thing you can be sure of, they won't stop protesting. They won't stop demonising Netanyahu. They won't stop this rampant hatred of Israel, using little kids dressed in death to the IDF T-shirts because it doesn't suit their real beef, which is a hatred of the West and a hatred of Israel. Watch now how the real activists behind the weekly marches that have disrupted Sydney, Melbourne and other capital cities pivot so that these ugly marches, often filled with ill-informed sheep draped in keffiyehs and Palestinian flags, the Greta Thunbergs of our part of the world, find a reason to keep up their useless protest movement. Take the Sydney organiser, the bloke who set up that march over the Harbour Bridge and wanted to revisit the Opera House on Sunday, where, of course, you will remember that 3 days after October 7, a bunch of these protesters chanted anti-Jewish threats. Well, here was Damien Ridgewell, that's his name, from the Palestine Action Group, on the steps of the court in Sydney today, accepting he can't lead his mob of tipped to be 40,000 people to the Opera House, but instead intends taking over George Street.
Because this goes beyond just the genocide over the last 2 years. Obviously, it's important because Israel has only been able to carry out a genocide because they have been armed by countries like Australia and the United States because of the political support that they've received from those governments. We've seen hundreds of thousands of Palestinians have lost their lives because of that complicity. We need to end the policy of complicity with an apartheid regime which has been oppressing Palestinians since 1947.
So it won't stop. The protests will continue. It's now all about what this crowd claim is genocide by Israel. And you can bet globally, because what those who chant from the river to the sea really want is actually the end of the State of Israel. And just on that sensible court ruling on an Opera House ban march, here is Assistant Commissioner Peter McKenna explaining how dangerous it would have been to have let that gathering actually happen.
The cul-de-sac, the peninsula that it was on, the ingress and egress routes, they gave me great concern of crowd crush, and for those reasons that's what we took to the Court of Appeal.
Sensible, easy to understand, tough policing of a permit system that, guess what? Victoria Police says, well, they don't work. Could someone please send a copy of the judgment of that court to new Commissioner of Victoria Police Mike Bush and his boss Premier Jacinta Allen and get them to read it and then tell me it doesn't work? Seriously?